Okay, are we good? All right, man. Immigration. So first, here's the first thing you need to know. Question, is it a new problem? Look, the United States isn't falling apart, okay? We are not falling apart. Everything, the big fights that we're having about immigration, up in the air, undocumented immigration, legal immigration, people coming in from all over, are they learning the language, are they not learning the language, are they a drain on the economy? Look, every single argument we've had for centuries. And certainly going back to populist times of the late 19th century. I mean, we have been battling immigration, trying to come up with the right answer to a complex issue for a long, long time. In some ways, way worse than we're at now. So here, let me show you some slides. So look at this here. Illegal is a crime. You know, what part of illegal don't you understand? I mean, it's like this kind of stuff, right? It's like, okay, look, there are hundreds upon hundreds of thoughtful books that are written about illegal immigration or undocumented immigration. And I'm reasonably certain, by people who are pro and anti and in the middle and trying to figure it out, and I'm reasonably certain that those people have never read a single one of them. And that's okay. They can still have those signs. But the point is, people are arguing about this stuff. Okay? Go to the next slide. So here we go, 1903. I'm going to show you some cartoons that take us back over 100 years. Here's Uncle Sam, and here we are, the dumping grounds, the unrestricted dumping ground. Here's the mafia. It's a rat, so Italians, those of you who are Italian, you were portrayed as rats coming off, the mafia, the whole thing, right? And it's just shipping, like, what's it? I think it says, like, shipping daily, climbing on shore. It's like, this is it's anti-immigrant. That's hardcore. Italians as rats. You know what I mean? You couldn't do that today. Like, oh, man.
It says, directly from the slums of Europe daily.
Oh, directly from the slums of Europe daily is what it says. There we are. Yep. All right, next one. So here we go. Uncle Sam's Troublesome Bedfellows from The Wasp. It was the Wasp, White Anglo-Saxon Protestant. It was a magazine back in the day, February 1879. So here's Brigham Young, the Mormons. So Uncle Sam's kicking him out of bed. Look, he's kicking the Chinese guy out of bed. He already kicked the Mormon out. And look, it says polygamy right there. Here's the Native American. Here's Native Americans. Here's the black guy. And here's the Irish Catholic with a bottle of whiskey, right? So here we go, kicking him out. The Troublesome Bedfellows. It's like all these people coming in, and we're fighting about it. Next one. So, look, this is the German, and here's the Irishman, and this is the ballot box. And what they're portraying here is that it's an election, the polls, and they're stealing the ballot box. The Germans and the Irish are stealing the ballot box. So, but look, check this out. By the way, that should be 1880, not 1980. In 1880, there were 1,000 German newspapers in the United States. 1,000 German newspapers in the United States. Talk about assimilation and the issues of assimilation. This is an English-speaking country. And if you go back to 1880, it's not that long ago, 1,000 German newspapers. People were fighting about what the language should be, and there were lots of people saying, no, we should be bilingual, we should be German and English, just as today many people are saying we should be Spanish and English. People fighting about it, people going to battle on it. Next one. You know who that guy is? You know who he represents? The ape. Do you know who he represents? Do you have any idea, bro? The ape, common representation of the ape, was only used to represent one person, one group in the United States. You know who it is? Yeah. Who? No, not African Americans. Irish. The Irish. Mutual. This is what it said below the cartoon, 1891. Mutual. Both are glad there are bars between them. The ape, the monkey and the ape. Or the ape and the ape. And the chimp. Next one. See, the ape again. And this is the Irishman with the priest, you see, because Ireland's a Catholic country. So the Catholic Church, the fear of the Catholic Church, so much anti-Catholic sentiment right up through the mid-20th century, which is why when John F. Kennedy was elected president in 1960, it was a major deal, the first Catholic president. They're carving up the Democratic Party, the church, who all the Protestants hated, and then the Irish, who the English hated. So next one. Here we go. The immigrant Jew, 1899. So the Jewish guy showing up. Look, Sabbath desecration, right? Showing up to Uncle Sam. And Uncle Sam saying, look at plugging his nose. Like, you're not welcome. You stink, you smell. Imagine that. These are cartoons that are portraying an anti-immigration sentiment. They're not making fun of it. They're all portraying it. Next one. The Chinese must go. 1883. So here's like the Missouri steam washer. So we're going to get rid of all the Chinese because they're all involved in the laundromat, the laundry business. So we're going to get rid of them. Got to kick them out. We can finally get rid of the Chinese. Next one. And here's a great one. The immigrant. Is he an acquisition or a detriment? He's brawn. So what went with this is he's brawn and muscle. He cheapens my labor. He's a puzzle. He makes votes for me. He brings disease. He gives me cheap labor. He's a menace. So on and so forth. It just goes on and on and on. 1903. Look at on all these immigrants coming from all over. You see, this is not new what we're after here. Next one. And so here's this one. This guy, pro-immigrant. I love this. Roses are red. Tacos are enjoyable. Don't blame a Mexican just because you're unemployable. So to start a conversation, a serious, thoughtful conversation about immigration, which I'm not hearing in the media, I'm not hearing coming from the White House, I'm not hearing coming from Congress, I'm not hearing coming from state houses. To have a thoughtful conversation starts right here. It has always been an issue in the United States. What do you do about immigrants? How many do you let in? From where do you let them in? Who gets to make those decisions? One after another. What do you do when they're here? How quickly do they get citizenship? What do they have to do to prove citizenship? And on top of all that, what do you do with native peoples who are already here? How do we do that? How do you build a country? How much do you force them to assimilate, or do you allow them to assimilate, or where you go? I mean, it is a major, major issue. It's always been an issue. And in some ways, the rhetoric and the hate and the anger and the fear has been much more intense than it is today at different periods of the history of the United States. So we're not falling apart at the seams. That's where you have to start. This is just an ongoing debate. Okay? Are we good? All right, ma'am. Hey, Jiggy, by the way, I have a question for you. When you came to the U.S., can you go back to the slide with the Chinese guy? Recognizing you're Korean, not Chinese. Oh, you got that.
Of course.
When you came here, I mean, how old were you again?
10.
10?
Yeah.
Did you have any, or did your parents have any sense of like any anti-Asian sentiment, or did you just assume you'd be welcomed, or?
I don't think I thought about it, but I mean, I assumed that I was just another human. I didn't know anything about racism back then because and I didn't know what it would be like to live with other skin colors. So I didn't think that it would be a big deal. I just thought I would become just a part of another community.
So your parents never talked about it? Did you ever meet a white person before you came to the U.S.?
No.
Did you remember? Yeah? Because Korea is really Korean.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just us.
Do you know what I mean by that? Do y'all know what I mean by that? Like Korea is like going back, certainly when you came here, really, really Korean. I mean, you don't go to Korea and walk around and find lots of people who are not Korean. I mean, unlike, if you go to the UK and London or whatever, but yeah. So had you met a black person?
No.
So neither.
The only time I would see a white person or a black person was in like my English book when they had the little pictures.
Yeah.
Yeah. I always wanted a basement just because the houses were always there are houses in Korea. We have apartments, so when I saw houses, I thought basements were really cool, and like
Oh, yeah.
second floors were really cool.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Just
I
fun
get that.
fact, I guess.
Yeah, well,